Now, this is the beginning of the second Tantra called Winning of Friends. And here is the first verse. Clever people and those well versed in Niti Shastra, even when they are without means, achieve success very quick, just like the crow, the mouse, the turtle, and the stag. This is how the story goes. In the south of India, there was a city called Mahilarupayam. Not far from the city, there stood a very big tree. All kinds of birds ate its fruit, and many travelers rested under its shade. Now, on the branches of the tree, there lived a crow by the name of Laghupantnak. One day, as he was flying towards the city in search of food, his eyes fell upon a black hunter creeping towards that very tree. He looked like a servant of Yam. When Laghupatnak saw this, he was scared, thinking to himself, Heavens, this wicked hunter is going to our tree. The birds who are living there will certainly come to some harm. And so the crow flew back to the tree and said, Oh, friends, there's a wicked hunter coming, and he has brought a net and rice grains with him. Don't touch the rice, treat it like poison. Meanwhile, the hunter had reached the tree. He spread out his net, scattered the shining white rice on the ground underneath, and hid himself nearby. As the birds had been warned in advance by Laghupantak, they did not touch the rice and avoided being caught in the hunter's net. Now, Chitragriv, the king of the doves, happened to be fly in the neighborhood at that time. He and his retinue were looking for food. They came to this tree and saw the ripe grains of rice. Lagupatnak warned them in the same way not to touch it, but they took no notice of him, and Chitragriv and his entire court were caught in the net. As they say, this is what happens when fate is hostile, and it's nobody's fault when disaster is imminent. A man's mind is in turmoil, even his wits fail him. When the hunter saw that he had caught the doves, he was overjoyed and wept up to the tree. Seeing him coming, Chitragriv said to his retinue, Don't be afraid, for they say he who holds on to his courage in the face of disaster will, with the help of his intelligence, ultimately surmount all his difficulties. And so, let us all unite, lift the net together, and fly off with it. For they say, small things united become strong. Even delicate threads of cotton woven together are very hard to break. Then, when we are out of the hunter's sight, we can free ourselves. But unless we do this quickly, we shall all be dead. The doves followed Chitragriva's plan. When the hunter saw them flying away with his net, he ran after them, saying to himself, These doves have united and are flying away with my net. But should they quarrel on the way, they will all fall to the ground. Laghupatnak the crow was so curious to know what would happen that he forgot all about his food and followed the doves. When the hunter saw the doves vanishing out of sight, he sadly recited the following shlok. Nothing happens that is not predestined, and what is predestined always comes to pass. Even when a man has something in his hand, if fate is hostile, it slips from his grasp. That's why when I have lost not only the doves but my net too, the means of supporting my family. When Chitragriv saw the hunter disappearing out of sight, he said to the doves, Friends, the wicked hunter is not following us anymore, so we can all fly to Mahilarupayam with our minds easy. Now I have a friend living there, a mouse by the name of Hiranyak. He will certainly bite through these meshes and set us free. As they say, when calamity befalls a man, only a true friend will help him. Others offer only lip sympathy. The doves agreed to Chitragriva's suggestion and made their way to the mouse home. Now the hole where Hiranyak was living had innumerable entries and exits. For the mouse, it was an excellent stronghold. He lived there quite fearlessly. as they say, a snake without tanks, an elephant without furry, and a king without a castle are helpless. But a single archer behind a castle wall can withstand 100 men of the enemy. When Chitragriv reached the hole, he called loudly, "Oh, friend, Hiranyak, come out quickly! I am in a bad spot." But the mouse did not come out. Instead, he asked from inside, "Who are you? What do you want from me? Tell me, what is your problem?" The king of doves replied, "My dear friend, it's Chitragriv, the king of the doves. Please come out quickly, it's very urgent." When Hiranyak recognized his friend's voice, he came out immediately, became beaming with delight. But when he saw the king of doves and his retinue all caught in the net, his face fell and he asked, "What is the meaning of this?" The king of doves replied, "Hiranyak, why ask me? You know me well enough to know that it's my love of food that has got me into this state." The mouse said, "No, my dear friend, it's the will of fate. As they say, when destiny so decides, however high the birds soar in the sky, they see the mutton but not the trap. And however deep the fish swims in the water, they are caught in the fisherman's net. Yum stretches his hand in every direction and seizes both the wicked and the just. He makes no distinction." When he had finished speaking, Hiranyak began to free the king of the doves, but Chitragriv stopped him and said, "Don't do that. Free my followers first and me afterwards." Hiranyak impatiently said, "God heavens, no! The master comes first and then the servant." Chitragriv replied, "My dear friend, don't talk like that. All these trapped doves left their homes and families to follow me. The least I can do is show them this much consideration. They say, when a king shows respect to his servants, they will never forsake him in times of distress. Besides, your teeth might break while you are biting my meshes through, or the hunter may arrive. In both cases, I shall be the only one free, and my followers will still be prisoners. And they say, when a master enjoys life while his devoted servants suffer, he will surely have to pay both here and in hell." When Hiranyak heard this, he was very happy and he said, "My friend, I too know a king's duties very well. I just wanted to test you. So I shall free your followers first, and for this noble action, they will always continue to respect you as their king." Then Hiranyak bit through all the meshes of the net and set the doves free. Then he said to Chitragriv, "Now, should you ever get into a similar situation again, you can come to me." Chitragriv thanked the mouse heartily, took his leave, and flew off with his coat. Hiranyak also went back. Hiranyak also went back into his hole. It's very true what they say. A wise man should develop friendship with the right kind of people, for with their help, even difficult problems can be tackled easily. Now, Laghu Pantak the crow had seen all that had taken place and he was amazed. "How talented the mouse is," he thought. "He actually succeeded in freeing the doves. Now, if I was caught in a trap one day, Hirana could free me too. So I shall make friends with him, just in case." As they say, however great the volume of the sea, it must await the appearance of full moon to produce the high tide. And however talented a wise man may be, he nonetheless needs friends. So the crow flew down to the mouse hole. Imitating Chitragriva's voice, he called, "Ho, Hiranyak, please come out." The mouse heard this voice. He thought to himself, "Is there still a dove left in the net, calling for my help?" However, he did not come out but called from inside, "Who is it?" "It's a crow called Lagupatnak," replied the crow. "Then be off with you," cried the mouse. "But I have something very important to say to you," the crow replied. "Why won't you come out and meet me?" Hiranyak replied, "Why should I? The crow said. But my friend, I saw how you freed Chitragreev and I respect you for it. One day I might be caught in a net and you could free me too. So I should like to make friends with you. The mouse replied, but you are a hunter and I'm your prey. How can I be your friend? Be off. How can anyone make friends with an enemy? As they say, friendship is only possible between people who are equal in strength, wealth, and status. The crow replied, well, if you want to make friends with me, I'll starve myself to death right here at your door. Hiranyak replied, but how can I be your friend? You are my enemy, and it's so true what they say. However much you heat water, it still extinguishes fire. The crow said, but mouse, until today we have never had the opportunity to meet each other. How then can you possibly speak of enmity between us? The mouse said, there are two types of enmity. The hereditary enmity that exists between certain species and the enmity that arises as a result of some quarrel. As they say, enmity that arises for some particular reason vanishes when the cause is removed, but the natural enmity between certain species endures forever. So, with fire and water, carnivorous animals and grass eaters, lion and elephants, the mongoose and the snakes, dogs and cats, the hunter and the deer, devils and angels, atheists and believers, the fools and the learned, the immoral and the virtuous, and a man's two wives. The crow said, but this natural enmity is pointless. Friendship or enmity should develop because there is some reason for it. And in our case, there is no reason whatsoever for us to be enemies. So make friends with me. They say friendship with the wicked is like an earthenware pot. It is easily broken in pieces and cannot be cemented together again. But friendship with the good is like a pot made of gold. It breaks only with great difficulty and can easily be repaired. Friendship with the wicked is like the morning shadow, which to begin with are the longest but decrease with the passage of time, whilst friendship with the good is like the shadows at noon, which at first are very small but increases as time goes on. Now I swear to God, Hiranyak, that I will do you no harm. The mouse said, even so, I can't trust you. For they say, never put your trust in someone who is not to be trusted, nor even in a trustworthy man beyond limit. A weakling who is wary escapes being killed by the strongest of men, but a strong man who puts too much faith in others can be killed by a mere weakling. When Laghupatnak heard this clever reply from the mouse, he was amazed at Hiranyak's knowledge of Niti Shastra and was at a loss for an answer. Then he said to the mouse, oh, all right then. If you still don't trust me, stay inside your hole. But please talk to me a bit. Speak about politics and moral stories. When the mouse heard this, he thought to himself, this crow Laghupatnak seems to be very intelligent, and perhaps he is even telling the truth. I think I will make friends with him. Then the mouse said, all right then, my friend, I agree. And so from that day onwards, the two of them became good friends. The crow would bring fruits and delicacies for the mouse, and the mouse in return would save a few tidbits for the crow. And they would entertain each other telling stories, as they say. The indications of friendships are mutual entertainment and the exchange of confidence and presents, and unless you offer oblations to the gods, and unless you offer oblation to the gods, your wishes will not be fulfilled. In the courses of time, the mouse trusted the crow so much that he would even sit under his wings and talk to him. But one day the crow came to the mouse with tears in his eyes and said, oh, Hiranyak, I feel absolutely fed up with this part of the country. I would like to fly off to some other place. The mouse said, But my dear fellow, why do you say that? Laghu Patnak said. Listen, Hiranyak, there has been no rain here for a long time, and as a result, the people don't have enough to eat. As they haven't sufficient for themselves, they don't feed the crows anymore. On the contrary, they have set traps everywhere to catch us. I myself was caught in one of those traps, but I was destined to live longer and so managed to free myself. So that is the reason why I am fed up with this country. And I am shedding these tears because if I leave and go somewhere else, I must also leave such a good friend as you are. The mouse asked, Where do you mean to go? Laghu Patnak replied, Well, further south, deep in the jungle, in a lake, a very dear friend of mine, a turtle by the name of Mantrak, lives there. He feeds me on bits of fish, and I can pass my time very happily with him, discussing moral tales and talking philosophy. I can't bear to stay here and see the destruction of my own people. As they say, blessed indeed are those who do not see the destruction of their land and family due to drought and the ruination of crops. So, I would prefer to leave and go somewhere else. The mouse said, I would like to come with you, for I too have experienced something dreadful here. The crow said, What do you mean? Explain to me. The mouse said, It's a very long story. I'll tell you about it when we arrive at your friend's place. The crow said, But I shall be flying in the air and you will be crawling on the land, so how can you accompany me? The mouse replied, Well, you can carry me on your back and take me. For me, there is no other way of getting there. When the crow heard this, he said delightedly, Well, if that's the case, I'm very lucky fellow, for I shall be able to enjoy your company over there too. Let's go immediately. So get on my back and hold on tight, and I shall take you there without any difficulty. And so the mouse seated himself firmly on the crow's back, and the crow started the journey to the lake. Flying slowly by stages, the crow and the mouse finally arrived at the lake. The turtle saw the crow and the mouse come flying down, and he was so astonished that he plunged headlong into the water. The crow saw what had happened and landed at the bottom of a tree. The mouse jumped down to the ground and crept into a hole. Then the crow seated himself on a branch of the tree and shouted, Ho, Mantharak, it's your friend Laghupatnak, the crow. Come out quickly and give me a big hug. When the turtle heard his voice, he recognized Laghupatnak and came out of the water. He was overcome with emotion and cried, Laghupatnak, welcome. Please forgive me for not recognizing you straight away. But it's so long since I saw you. Then the crow flew down to meet the turtle. They hugged each other delightedly and spent some time telling each other about the experiences. The mouse too came out of the hole boat before Mantharak and sat down. When the turtle saw the mouse, he turned to Laghupatnak and said, My friend, who is this mouse? You feed on mice? So why have you brought this one along with you on your back? You must have some definite reason for it. The crow replied, Mantharak, this mouse is a very dear friend of mine. His name is Hiranyak. He is even dearer to me than my own life. He is always gay, but at the moment he is very sad and dejected. Mantharak asked, Why? The crow said, I have already asked him about it, but he said that it was a long story and so he would prefer to tell it here beside the lake. The crow then turned to the mouse and said, Now, my dear friend Hiranyak, what about your story? And by way of reply, Hiranyak told, But it's been so long. So, what Hiranyak told, I'll tell you in my next video. Till then, keep listening beautiful stories and keep smiling.